Yunmog, a god beast and known as the grandfather of Gargants, was one of the primeval gods of the realm of Azur. It was his great club which parted the land, sea and sky, and after the effort of this mighty blow, he lay down and slumbered. Within his belly Gargants grew, and it was within his gut the Gargant, known as Behemat, brewed a moonshine so vile it caused the god beast to retch. 3 Gargants made their way into the god beast's mouth. Behemat, the cleverest of the bunch, sought freedom, and began hammering on the great beast's fangs. As the beast began to swallow, a fang shattered, giving Behemat his freedom. His 2 kin, however, began to be taken back into the god beast's stomach, too distracted over a jar of vomit to quench their titanic thirst. Where Yunmog's teeth fell, the first mountains of the mortal realms were formed. It was Sigmar, within the age of myth, that managed to kill the massive creature with the great bolts. These magnificent arcs of lightning piercing the hide of the great beast, leaving Behemat alone as the only Gargant within the mortal realms. As Behemat crashed his way across the realm, he earned the attention of the destructive Uruk god Gorkamorka. The god named Behemat as his champion, and everything the Gargant would do would be in his name. Gorkamorka currently was seated within the pantheon of gods, alongside Behemat, and was known for his love for a good scrap, admired the early feats of Behemat. However, as evil once again crept its way into the new age, the tendrils of chaos sought to sow seeds of dissent within the pantheon of order. Tzeentch Khorne twisted the twin-headed Uruk god to resent Behemat, and so the green-skinned god laid forth challenges. The Gargant would complete these challenges, or die in his attempts. The Great Watering, as it was known, was the first task issued to Behemat, to destroy a city with a great flood. Within the age of myth, Gorkamorka had drowned a city, the sea he was drinking from, fleeing from his mighty thirst, and only when safe to return did the tsunamis it brought wipe the city from the face of the realm. Behemat's completion of the first task was rather accidental, the clumsy beast stubbing his toes on the fjord's uneven surface. Behemat belly flopped into the Girdle Sea, and such an unstoppable wave of water was created that the nearby elven city was destroyed. Irate with the ease of the first task's completion, the Uruk god charged Behemat to stop the supervolcano Vulcatrix lair from birthing any further gigadrafts. Gorkamorka having previously wiped out an entire generation. These massive fire-breathing creatures brought ruin to wherever they strode. Behemat once again went forth to complete his god's task, and wrenched the top half of a nearby mountain, turned it over, and shoved it into the crater of the supervolcano. This rudimentary plug caused a pressure buildup so monumental that the explosion and ensuing fallout blackened the skies for weeks. And when a nation of fire slayers rose from the ruins of the nearby mountain, Behemat stomped them flat. The mountain dwarves have been short and squat ever since. Taking a new approach to the penultimate challenge, an eating competition was declared within the realm of Gur. Whilst Gorkamorka took an early lead, devouring every monster, rotten or not, Behemat plunged through the greed-mouthed realm gate into the realm of Shayesh, and began to devour the ghosts of the beasts that the god Gorkamorka had just eaten. And realizing that this wouldn't quite be enough, he went on to pillage a nearby nation of menfolk that resided within the realm. The final task of Behemat would result in his eventual fall. The beast was to duel the god king Sigmar, the Uruk god having duelled him to a standstill, something even his father, Yunmog, had failed to achieve. Behemat sought to draw the god king into a duel with his mighty roar. However, it wasn't until the Gargant began to slay Sigmar's people that he emerged from the lightning. The duel was titanic. The sounds of lightning and roars echoed across the realms, their blood forming waterfalls on the landscape. It wasn't until Sigmar struck the beast with his Warhammer Galmiraz did the beast's onslaught relent. Behemat was sent reeling, and he stumbled away to the harmiest belt, eating everything within sight. And when this was too much, he vomited, spewing forth an entire generation of Gargant. And as the last Gargant fell from his lips, he fell also, falling with such force he became part of the landscape. However, the beast was not dead. Archean, the ever-chosen of Chaos, sought to corrupt the slumbering World Titan and use him as a pawn within his greater plans. He set forth 3 objectives to achieve this goal. The Skaven clans would be sent forth to burrow into the beast with their warpstone drills. The Plague Bearer blow Grotspawn to infect the beast to keep him placid. And finally, the Grey Herds of Nurgle would put the great, corrupting green tock around his neck. However, the forces of order noticed these terrible plans, and the chambers of the Stormcast were finally unleashed to prevent these. As the wars raged, Behemat stirred, causing shifts across the earth, and eventually the pain grew so great that Behemat awoke. He rose in a state of deranged agony and began mercilessly crushing anything which stood in front of him. The great bolts which had slayed his father were sent forth to kill him. However, these failed to find their mark, striking almost at random, and when all seemed lost, the Celestant Prime arrived, descending from the heavens on bolts of lightning. The Celestant caught and contained these great bolts, re-aiming and recharging these at Behemat. The Prime's aim was true, and the old wound that Sigmar had caused was the target. Behemat fell once more. From a fall he would never rise from, the Scabrous Sprawl would become his grave. Gargant culture varies depending on the Mega Gargant which leads the tribe, and all but one of these often revolve around conflict and the acquisition of loot. Disputes are often settled with wrestling and bare-knuckle brawls. These tribes are often referred to as stomps, and have a few dozen members at most, led by a powerful Mega Gargant. This Mega Gargant must possess both incredible strength and authority to keep those under him in line. And Gargant society is broken into 3 layers. The Big Heel is the leader of the stomp, and under his rule, the tribe will adopt his culture and ways of war. Under the Heel is the Mega Gargants which reside under the Big Heel. Usually having lost a fight with their leader, they wait for weakness to be shown. The Foot Sluggers are the Man-Crusher Gargant portion of the tribe, and often are considered expendable by their larger kin. Warstomper Mega Gargants are nomadic wanderers ever watchful for signs of battle within the distance, and they truly do live for the brutality of war, embracing every aspect of its terrible form. These Gargants often sell their services to the highest bidder, but favour the forces of chaos, whose society breathes destruction. Well versed in warfare, these creatures are cunning, and are ever adapting to the changing face of the battlefield. The most cunning of these beasts will actively work to continue instability within regions, hoping for a war unending, so they may pillage and war forevermore. The arrival of the Stormcast Eternals has proven a mighty foe for the Warstomper. These beasts are often adorned with armaments protruding from their skin, proudly defiant of those that have failed to fell them. One-Eyed Grunnick is a renowned Warstomper mercenary legend across the mortal realm. During one battle between the Ossiarch Bone Reapers and Caradron Overlords, Grunnick attacked both sides as they sought a truce, and such was the massive reach of Grunnick that both sides faced his wrath. He was finally driven away with an Aether-shot cannon piercing his eye, and he now vents his fierce rage for his skull-splitting headache. Gatebreaker Mega Gargants are truly the cruelest sons of Behemat, hulking mockeries of human executioners. These dark-cowled Gargants seek to destroy any structure that stands before them. Their hatred towards any that settle the land leads them to plunder settlements and cities, fastening massive town bells as trophies to their bodies as proof of their might. These Gargants favour the armies of death which have no such need for the spoils of war. Big Drog Fortkicker is a known gatebreaker, and often seen within the armies of death. This Gargant has a lucky streak as long as his massive arms, and works to be a mainstay within these terrifying armies. To win the trust of Nagash is his ultimate goal, only to smash and stomp on the bones of the god when he least expects it. Kraken-eaters are perhaps the wisest of the sons. These Gargants are the most experienced of the bunch. However, they have chosen a life of solitude, seeking shelter within isolated coastal caverns only known to the most intrepid of adventurer. These Gargants prefer to pillage the bounty of the sea than face the wars of land, often having an appreciation for the realm's magic, with some even daring to dabble within it. Kraken-eaters find peace sitting alone, watching the dawn sun rise, resting their weary bones within deep, soothing waters. Bundo Whalebiter is a feared Kraken-eater which haunts the coasts of Tusk. During a raid upon a village, seeking to fatten his belly, the Indineth Deepkin struck. Enraged at the audacity of this attack, Bundo unleashed his fury upon the elves, which fled beneath the waves, sending one solitary eel to distract Bundo. This one eel possessed a glowing lantern on its back. Bundo now wears this lantern on his ear, with some saying it's improved the beast's already devious mind. Beast Smashers are the newest to be sighted within the mortal realms. These Gargants move with a divine purpose. They believe themselves to be the embodiment of Gorkamorka himself, seeking out the mightiest of monsters. They wish to duel these monsters and adorn their body with their pelt for all to see as what they desire, relying on their killer instinct to kill and track their prey. Armed with their mighty clubs, they seek to smash their foes, and favour the forces of death and destruction, which allow them to face the greatest beasts from across the realms. King Brod is a truly massive Gargant, towering above his mega Gargant kin. This Gargant priest claims to have crawled from the Titan's Maw fully grown, a feat unheard of within Gargant culture. Any stupid enough to challenge his rule have long since been killed, as Brod leads the Gargant tribes of the Sprawl. Brod seeks to inherit his father's title of World Titan, and carries a massive granite pillar from his temple which was erected in Behemat's honour. Brod seeks to rebuild this temple, which was destroyed by the vile beastmen. Their bones will serve as a fine mortar.